Everyone, Vito's back with another deck review. A very interesting special deck review. This is the latest from United Cardists and Lautrec. It is the Dondorf's, I have to get the name right, Dondorf's Hundertjahrkarte. That's how I pronounce it. It is a restoration of a deck that was created in 1933 for the 100th anniversary, the Jubilee of Dondorf, which obviously started in 1843 as a printing company, and he ended up focusing on playing cards. The original decks were basically in a bridge size, or very close to it. They were the most expensive deck to produce, or they were quite expensive to produce at the time, and they were one of the most elaborate decks at the time, featuring a they were produced using something called chromolithography that used 28 stones, which apparently is similar to the equivalent of printing plates used nowadays, which is a lot. It featured metallic inks on both the faces and the backs, as well as gilding, extremely detailed court cards, and they're just very nice. As you'll see, they came in a marble looking box with a golden inlaid buckle, much like this one. It's kind of a marble look, and it does have that buckle that says Dondorf's Hundertjahrkarte on the front, and this golden inlaid buckle, just like the originals. This has been produced to be as close as possible to the originals. The original one was given away to attendees at this Jubilee event for Dondorf, which is in Germany, I believe it was, if I recall correctly. And they were never sold publicly or anything like that, and they were very limited. They're one of the rarest and most expensive decks and sought-after decks. Lautrec has beautifully restored it, along with the help of Mike at United Cardists. And let's get in with it. There you have it. The front of the box, like I said, says Dondorf's Hundertjahrkarte. It's beautiful golden inlay. It's just a two-piece box. The back is numbered 10 out of 250. Thumbs up for that. Open it up. There's gold on the inside. You do get this card here. It says there's a restoration of the original deck, authorized by them, by Carta Mundi. Originally, one of the decks, the Player's Edition right here, was supposed to be produced by MPC, but it seems like they didn't do that. There's also this card, this information here, which was in the original decks as well, so that's pretty cool that they've included that. One side English, one side German. Ein Kartenspiel nennen wir the Blatt. I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's move on. It's been translated. It's just got information related to it, I guess. Like I said, you got two decks. You get the Player's Edition, and you get the Restoration Edition right here in the gold gilding. Put the box aside. The back design is a beautiful back design. There are lots of color. That's the big thing about these decks. Tons of color. Bright yellowy orange borders, and there is a kind of a knight there and a castle in the background. Some other guy, it looks like some other knight, it looks like in there. And the other one's the same thing except in green. There is, if you look closely, metallic gold inks on the backs, just like the originals on both decks, mainly on like parts like this. And you'll see the same thing on the faces. This one does not have gilding anymore like it was supposed to. It doesn't. This one does, and it handles quite nicely, considering it has the gilding. Inside, you also get a double backer that is a color on one side, and the other side is just white, in case you wanted to use a $100 deck for performing magic. And you get some jokers. Joker in the corner. They did have these actually originally. and just a type guy in red, and you can see metallic gold inks. This one is in a darker red, and then this one is in a green color. And then you get to the cards. I haven't even really gone through them. There's the Ace of Spades. Nothing overly fancy about it. The index is kind of reversed from what we're used to, but it is what it is. All the aces are basically the same, and they got this stripe pattern on the faces. The court cards are in the original format with a B instead of a J. It probably stands for boy. No, obviously not. I don't know what it stands for. Somebody's going to comment. You can see how beautiful the court cards are. Lots of detail, lots of color. They're very detailed, obviously. And the queens are the dames, I should say. And then the kings are the, well, they're the kings. Beautiful. Ace of diamonds. You get the more beautiful artwork on the other court cards. The Ace of Hearts has this seal on it that says Deuces something, number 2. These decks were also apparently reprinted in 1975 by Waddington's. So that's kind of an interesting little fact. I believe they're called the Royal Gothic. And it did take some doing to get these reproduced, and Mike had to convince, the people who owned the artwork to allow them to do that. So that was pretty cool that he managed to do that. This one, you'll see it's the same thing. It's a very thin stock that they've used. We'll talk about that in a bit. And this one, there was one minor difference. 4 of Hearts. Says Dondorf's Hundertjahrkarte. Very interesting. Outside that, though, it's the same thing. Either way, the beautiful decks, beautiful restorations, very nice to have in your collection if you're a collector. If you missed out, I believe there's still some available through United Cards. The Player's Edition you can only get in the set with the restoration, and the restoration you can get individually. These apparently have a 310 GSM Black Core German casino board stock. Obviously, they didn't print through NPC, so we won't worry about that. And whether or not they actually did end up using the same stock they advertised, I'm not sure, but it's a very kind of a thin stock. Anyways, that is that. Comment, rate, subscribe, let me know what you think. I think they're very beautiful. Obviously, a solid 10 out of 10. For the price, you better hope it's 10 out of 10. And we'll see you next time with more. Thanks for watching. Check out UnitedCardists.com, Lotrex websites, links in the description. See ya.